So lately, fan casting has kind of been out of control.
Online discourse surrounding who should be cast as the DCU Batman kind of epitomizes my issue with Fancast.
If Sklenar actually ends up playing Batman, then I'll know for sure that Twitter fancasting is literally controlling the industry.
I hate it! It's so bad!
With the introduction of James Gunn's DCU and the release of the first film in the franchise, Superman, speculation about a certain other Detective Comics hero is at an all-time high. It's definitely safe to say that fans are passionate about this one. The hero I'm referencing is obviously Nightwing. No, like seriously, all I see at the moment while I'm doom scrolling my TikTok For You page is what God-given, birthed within the gates of heaven, hunk of a man could be the perfect pick to play Dick Grayson. It's pretty much all anyone is talking about at the moment, and it's for good reason at least. Nightwing is a very difficult character to cast, as he's obviously widely considered the most attractive dude in comics. I think that with any casting, but especially this one, a lot of people are just going to be mad no matter what. Looks are obviously subjective, which is why he's so difficult to cast. And even if James Gunn could AI generate the most perfect looking human being you've ever seen, who also has the acting skills to back himself up, somebody somewhere is still not going to like the choice. Grayson is probably the biggest character that people are arguing about in terms of fan casting right now, at least just behind Gotham's most popular hero, Batman. Now here's what you really clicked on the video for, so get strapped in. The Caped Crusader, arguably DC's top vigilante, who is of course on the Mount Rushmore of superheroes alongside Superman, Spider-Man and Wonder Woman. And yes, that is the definitive Mount Rushmore of superheroes. There's not a single doubt in my mind about it. And if you think differently, you know, let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to ignore it because, you know, you're wrong. It's them for argue with the wall, alright? Batman has been played by over 10 actors in live action since his creation in 1939. But despite this, I would argue that he's one of the most difficult superheroes to cast. Now, the thing about playing a superhero is you're not just playing one character. More often than not, superheroes have their alter egos and then their secret identities. And a lot of the time, they're very different. Just take Superman and Spider-Man, for example. Peter Parker and Clark Kent are both realistically awkward and nerdy guys. However, a very different side comes out when they put on the costume. Batman is no different. Bruce Wayne is a relatively outgoing and cocky guy superficially, but Batman is kind of the opposite of that entirely. It could definitely be argued that Batman is cocky as well, but in a different, more heroic kind of sense. But at his core, he's a gothic edgelord with very little expression compared to Bruce Wayne. You know, there's a reason that nobody ever expects a superhero's true identity, and it's because they're usually very different from one another. To depict both of these personality types, it's not exactly easy. A lot of people say that Christian Bale's adaptation in The Dark Knight was the perfect Bruce Wayne. However, at the same time, most believe he wasn't the best Batman. Many still consider Christian Bale's adaptation as the best live-action Batman we've ever seen, with others claiming that the latest iteration, titled The Batman, featured the best portrayal by Robert Pattinson. Personally, I'm somewhere in the middle here. The Dark Knight movies were peak cinema, like there's no arguing about that, and I think that the Gotham that we got in Matt Reeves' The Batman, as well as the detective side of the character, were both pretty perfect. But while Pattinson makes a perfectly edgy and mysterious Batman, the gothic and moody take on Bruce Wayne doesn't really feel like the character should do. Now, if you could take Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne and combine that with Robert Pattinson's Batman, then I'd say you've almost got a perfect adaptation of the character. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So that can only mean that we need to find the next best thing. Now, Pattinson would work very, very well with David Corenswet's Superman. At least that's what I did believe, until I came across a TikTok that convinced me otherwise.
Please, God, never let these two cross over. I know their characters are different, but the tone is too different. Whole vibe to these movies are vastly different. We have kaijus shooting fire. That does not exist in this Batman universe. I am sorry, it's far too grounded and realistic. I can understand serial killers and crazy people. I can't understand laser beams and monsters in the sky.
I think this video makes some very good points as to why Pattinson's Batman just wouldn't work in the DCU. The dark and broody Bruce Wayne would definitely need a rework, which is possible. And if Pattinson could bulk up to make his Batman just a little bit more intimidating like the comics, then I could personally see the character fitting well with David Corenswet's Superman in the DCU. And with the right writing and making him a little less grounded, as we've definitely seen enough of that already, and maybe even implementing a little time jump to show that the character's evolved and is more experienced, could 100% make Pattinson a top pick for the DCU's Batman. And it's obviously the easy option because 2 concurrent Batman could be a little confusing for the casual viewers, and I assume that DC does not want to mess up possibly their last chance at reviving their cinematic franchise. The DCEU seriously did a number on DC.
Kal-El, no!
And I, along with you and I'm sure everyone else, are ready for the comeback. Speaking of the DCEU, a very large part of the damage is due to Zack Snyder's iterations of the characters. Now, for any Snyder fans watching, don't worry, I can explain. Now, for what it's worth, I don't hate the DCU's adaptation of The World's Greatest Detective and The Man of Tomorrow, but I think I speak for everyone when I say Batman does not kill. But like, take away the bad writing of Ben Affleck's Batman and keep his goddamn no-kill rule. And I'd actually say he was bordering on the perfect casting. Affleck was jacked. Like, the dude was the spitting image of Batman. And you know, he was a pretty decent Bruce Wayne as well. And the suit too, like, arguably the best Batman suit we've ever seen in live action. The sheer size of this man alone gave him that menacing and terrifying feel that is Batman. Batman is supposed to strike fear into his criminals, and Affleck's version nails that in terms of looks. But unfortunately, I just couldn't ever see him simultaneously scare his villains while also making a child feel safe. Sadly, he kind of frightens everyone, and that just isn't what Batman is. So if you could take the size of Affleck's Batman, the hopefulness of Robert Pattinson's Batman, and the charm of Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne, you would get Alan Ritchson.
Yeah, would I play Batman? Yes. Would I pay handsomely to be Batman? You wouldn't even have to pay me to be Batman. I'd don the suit. Gotham is mine.
Alan Ritchson, known for his role as Jack Reacher, and funnily enough, another popular DC character from Smallville, Aquaman, is a fan casting that's been thrown around for a good while now, and honestly, I don't actually hate it. The guy is obviously massive, and with that could definitely give off that intimidating demeanor given the right batsuit. And if you've seen him in the show Reacher, it's pretty evident that he has that same menacing aura as Batman.
I don't want justice. I want vengeance.
Now, I'm not going to say this is the perfect fit because some people really don't like this fan cast, but I am intrigued to hear your thoughts on this specific Batman casting in the comments. Alan Ritchson did say in a recent interview with Variety that words have been exchanged about Batman, but I don't think that Batman is in my future. I do think there is something in my future with DC, and I would like that to remain true. I think if James Gunn brought him back as the DCU's Aquaman, that could be pretty cool. And then we'd have Jason Momoa as Lobo, which would just solve everything. Jensen Ackles.
And you might want to gargle my ballsack.
Jensen Ackles, known for his role as Soldier Boy in The Boys, Dean Winchester in Supernatural, oh and yep, Jason Teague in Smallville. He's probably the most talked about fan casting for Batman that I have personally seen. I also really like this casting too. I think that Ackles definitely has the range and he looks like Bruce Wayne too, but the critique I'm seeing the most online is that by the time he would be introduced as the DCU's Batman, Jensen would be too old. I don't know if I necessarily disagree with this take entirely, but look, Pedro Pascal, he's 50 and he's playing one of the biggest characters in Marvel in Mr. Fantastic, who has literally only just been introduced into the MCU and is very likely to stick around for the next decade of MCU movies. So there is a chance that Jensen Ackles' Batman could work, but having him alongside a younger Superman in David Corenswet may not be the best decision in the long run. Jensen Ackles has shown his interest in playing the character, stating that Batman is his favourite superhero, so you never know.
Would I entertain the idea of playing my favorite superhero of all time? Nah, I'm good. It seems like a lot of work. You know, gotta put on a whole that suit and be a superhero.
Oh, you like it?
I love it.
Now, for the controversial one, Brandon Sklenar. No Fear's work on films such as 1923, as well as It Ends With Us, is the fan casting that's been thrown around a lot as of late. And with the hefty amount of articles and TikToks that are coming out at the moment, it would seem like it's almost a campaign from DC themselves to push this fan cast, with the hopes to gauge how people feel about it. However, an interview from earlier this year has definitely divided the fans, with some liking the fan casting and others not so much.
Make it my own for sure. Like more true to the comic. I love Christian's version's probably my favorite version of Batman, but I'd want him to see, like, lean more into like Bruce Wayne being Bruce Wayne, how he's in the comics, and then make Batman as dark as possible.
So I already didn't like the Brendan Sklenar as Batman fan cast, but hearing him actually talk about playing Batman makes me loathe it entirely. If you haven't seen the clip I'm talking about, let me reenact it for y'all. Christian Bale is like my fave by far, and so like I want to do comic accurate Bruce Wayne and make Batman just as dark as possible. What kind of dumbass? Hearing him say comic accurate and Batman as dark as possible in the same sentence is so... I'm begging for this goofball to be kept as far away as possible from this Batman role. What makes it so much worse is having to picture the fact that he would be with David Cornsweet as Superman, and that's like so embarrassing to picture. No!
I kind of agree with this take, as I personally think that the DCU's Batman needs to stay away from the realism that we've had from pretty much every live-action Batman iteration as of late, and delve into the slightly more fantastical side of the character, and finally embrace his comical elements. Now, I'm not saying that he should be whimsical or anything of the sort, because that simply isn't what Batman is, but if he is going to share the screen with David Cornsweet's Superman at some point, then Batman needs to be well versed with superpower beings that aren't as grounded as the villains from The Batman and The Dark Knight, for example. They seriously need to not hold back with giving us a comical rogues gallery, as well as Batman's iconic high-tech gadgets. At the end of the day, whether or not we get another dark and grounded Batman is ultimately going to be up to James Gunn and the writing of the character. And given this quote from Brendan Sklenar, where he states that if it ever comes around, I would gladly take that torch, and I would not take it lightly. I'm sure that Brandon would deliver a great performance, regardless of which route the DCU decides to take the character. Now, by far, the boldest fan casting may even come as a shock to you if you haven't been keeping up with the fan casting fandom. Tyler Hoechlin. Now this would be pretty crazy. If for the first time in history, an actor was able to play both Superman and Batman, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Hoechlin gave one of the best Superman portrayals we've ever seen in Superman and Lois, and he just looks like Batman. Dare I say, even more than Superman. I personally really like this fan casting and can see huge potential in it if it was to become a reality. Tyler Hoechlin and David Cornsweet side by side, I actually don't know how to explain it. It just looks right. Hoechlin has also expressed interest, which isn't exactly a shock. Most sane actors aren't exactly going to be against the opportunity to play one of the biggest characters in fiction. In a recent interview with Screen Rant, Hoechlin was asked if he thinks that Robert Pattinson's Batman fits into James Gunn's DCU, to which he responded by saying,
"Selfishly, I'm going to say no because I still want to play Batman."
The general consensus amongst fans on this casting is very positive, actually, and considering his credentials in pretty much everything, I'm talking looks, I'm talking age, I'm talking acting ability, I cannot help but lean towards Tyler Hoechlin as the DCU's Batman. Once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this casting as well. Obviously, there's loads more Batman fan castings, because as I said before, he is literally one of the biggest characters in fiction, and there's bound to be more fan castings as time goes on. But I don't believe that we will get the announcement for who will take on the role for a good while yet. Filming for the Clayface solo movie, which is set in the DCU, has recently begun filming in Liverpool, and I highly doubt that we won't get any mention of Batman in that movie, as Clayface is obviously a Batman villain. However, the movie is set to release in September 2026, so we've still got a little while to wait and see. From set photos, there are clear similarities from Matt Reeves' The Batman, but there are also clear differences. As of right now, James Gunn has made it very clear that Robert Pattinson is unlikely to be the DCU's Batman, with Matt Reeves' The Batman franchise currently being seen as a separate Elseworlds universe. But never say never. there's always a chance. What we do know, however, is they are developing a Batman the Brave and the Bold movie that will include Robin and is confirmed to take place in the DCU, but there is currently no scheduled release date, meaning there's still a lot of time until we find out if Pattinson will be brought into the DCU, or if a new actor will take up the mantle of the Dark Knight.